We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
He's right again. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to another Legally Armed America video. I'm, of course, Paul Glasgow here, the one and only truth pimp dealing you a vulgar display of logic and reason on a daily basis. Today, some of the things I'm going to tell you might surprise you, but a lot of you I don't think are going to be surprised. Some of the things are definitely going to offend some people. I don't care. I'm tired of us having to pretend, because it's the politically correct thing to do, that we're okay with a certain amount of corruption as long as the people stealing are either poor, disenfranchised, immigrants. No. Right is right, wrong is wrong. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what your justification is. I don't care that you're hungry so you stole groceries. None of that matters to me. Theft is theft, wrong is wrong. So we're going to touch on that today. You guys have seen the massive amount of corruption coming out of the state of Minnesota regarding welfare, more specifically Medicaid. I've seen that estimates might rise as much as $8 billion in one state now. There's 49 other states that are likely skimming and stealing money, but the difference is we're dealing with a state that has 80,000 Somalians in it. Oh, that's so unfair. That sounds racist. It's actually very true, and it's synonymous with their actual culture. And I got the receipts. Friends, night hunting has changed. This is the ShineX AIM 101 Fusion Rifle Scope, a true all-in-one optic that gives you digital, night vision, thermal, or both fused together in a single crystal clear image. Instead of swapping out between a day scope, a thermal, a monocular, you run one rifle, one optic, 24 hours a day. With their fused image technology, you can scan in thermal to pick up heat, then instantly confirm what you're seeing with digital night vision for positive ID. You can find all their products at shinex.com, again, shinex.com. So we're shocked when people raised in the world's most corrupt, failed state, like Somalia, come to America. And they start treating U.S. welfare programs like the same bottomless buffets that they're used to bilking back home. Let's stop pretending. Let's stop tiptoeing around this. And let's talk about the truth about Somalia and Somalians. No, I'm not talking about their skin color. I'm talking about the culture of Somalia and bringing that culture here and expecting something different. This is a country where corruption simply is not a crime. It is an absolute lifestyle. To start with, Somalia isn't just some country with a problem. Somalia is a masterclass in how to run a nation directly into the ground and then start digging and also crying along the way. The government, it's super weak. The institutions there, fake. Damn near every one of them. The aid system, an absolute joke, of course, funded by us. The NGOs, again, mostly ATM machines for whoever has the most guns that week, and funded by us again. In Somalia, things don't run like we're used to. Like, we try to apply a certain amount of logic that we witness here in the United States to other countries, just assuming our way we know is the right way. We know our way is the right way. So we assume other countries see how great our country is and say, let's be like them. But they don't. In Somalia, warlords tax the humanitarian shipments that we pay for and that we send there. Officials in many cases skim 30 to 40% of aid before it even reaches a truck. NGOs pay security fees to Al-Shabaab. Yes, that Al-Shabaab, the terrorists. Fake projects, ghost employees, and phantom wells are not a scandal. They're standard practice there. So you understand what I'm saying here. The aid gets there. Government-funded aid, U.S.-funded aid, it gets there. The NGOs, that's the non-governmental organizations, the USAID organizations, the ones where they're actually okay with the scamming in Somalia because they're scamming us too. They're keeping some of the money. But the aid actually gets there in bags printed with USAID on it. American flags everywhere. The warlords, which there are clans all throughout this country, the warlords get that stuff that we sent, that we paid for. They keep 30 to 40% of it. Now, they keep it because they sell it not even on black markets. They sell it in the local markets. They're not trying to hide it. They sell it in the same bags they stole it in. It says USAID. It's obvious they stole it. So they sell it, right? So only good maybe 50 to 60% of that makes it through the warlords because they got to skim theirs off the top. The NGOs, of course, they're paying the terrorists over there, again, with our money. So the NGOs are writing checks to terrorists to keep them from taking 100% of the aid that we're paying for. Think about that. We're losing 30 to 40% of what we pay for to send over there for hungry people. Because I admit there are hungry people over there. And I feel sorry for them, but it's not my problem. Maybe they could turn to their own government. But again, it's a whole nother video. So they're skimming 30 to 40% of the aid that we send. On top of that, we're also paying for a check to be written in the terms, in the way of bribe money, so that they don't take the other 60%. So we're paying for them not to steal all of it, is what we're essentially doing. We're allowing them to steal some and paying them not to steal the rest. Part of that NGO scam is also fake projects with ghost employees. In many cases, they're finding that we're paying for, let's say, specifically wells to be dug. They'll pay for, let's say $1 million per well. And I'm using that arbitrarily. That's not an actual number. But they're saying we're going to dig 10 wells. They dig 2, but they pay for 10. So we pay $10 million for $2 million worth of work. Again, where does that money go? NGOs' pockets and those local warlords and terrorists. They also claim to have way more employees, ghost employees, what they call them. That's actually a really big deal. Like, the ghost employee problem is humongous. It's not only big in Somalia, but it's also kind of rampant throughout all the NGOs and all these government scams out there where they're taking this government money, putting it into nonprofits, saying that we have this many employees, not having to ever fully justify all of those employees, but they're saying they're paying those and they're receiving money to payroll all those people who simply don't exist. But here's the thing that Americans have a little bit of a hard time wrapping their head around. In Somalia, not stealing is what looks suspicious. I know that sounds crazy. Honesty is suspect in Somalia because stealing is a way of life over there. This is not a new concept. That's how upside down their system is. That's the environment that millions grow up in over there. And again, we are importing those with a big stupid smile on our face, expecting things to change when they get here. Because let's face it, in a country like Somalia where corruption is normal, honesty looks weird, like it sticks out. Imagine being raised in a country where every official expects a bribe. Not might get one, they expect them. Every aid worker using our money is skimming from the system before it even reaches a potential person who might be, quote, needy. Every single clan leader steals for their own good. They justify the theft, saying it's for their own clan or their own family. Everyone assumes the system is rigged, so you rig it too. So after decades of existing in that type of environment in Somalia, what happens? You don't see corruption as evil. You see it as normal. You see it as a smart business. You see it as how the world works. You see it as not stealing, it's being a sucker. Like, you're a victim. If you don't steal, you're on top. If you do steal, don't be a sucker, steal instead. So when these people step off of an airplane in the United States, and they see us as a somewhat trusting society, and believe me, in terms of the overall worldview, the United States is a trusting society, even though I know what you guys are thinking. United States ain't Somalia. These people step off of this airplane, and they look at us as being stupid, suckers, gullible, naive. They see us expecting paperwork to be accurate, expecting there to be a certain level of trust built into when you sign your name on a line. They see that as stupidity in our case. They see that as, really? You guys think that's ironclad? That's just a signature. Because they're used to warlords over there conducting business in a certain way. And when they come over here and they see that a lot of our system is built on trust, honesty, and honor, they're shocked by that because that's not something that they've experienced over in Somalia. They see that as a weakness here. They're like, wow, nobody's watching the money. Nobody's checking any of my paperwork. This place is pretty easy. Then they act accordingly, and we act surprised. Now, I'm not saying that they're genetically corrupt. Again, nothing to do with skin color. I'm saying that they are historically corrupt. And it's here in their brain that they've accepted that. And again, we simply pay to bring them here, pay to settle them here so that they can steal from us. So then we get to Minnesota. This state is so obsessed with being welcoming, it forgot to be actually competent along the way. Minnesota set up enormous government-funded meal programs, then basically dared criminals, like the Somalians, to steal from it and made it easy for them. Surprise! The exact same fraud patterns from Somalia showed up here. Fake feeding centers set up and funded to serve thousands, serve no one. Ghost employees listed and paid. Employees that don't exist. Fake invoices created by the boatload. Money was laundered through clan networks, not exactly subtle, and millions were spent on cars, houses, travel, luxury goods, instead of feeding the, quote, starving children. It's the same model that they had in Somalia that they brought here, but they were closer to the money here, and it was easier here, because it didn't have to go through all those channels to get to Africa. This was a copied and pasted corruption model directly placed onto the Minnesota welfare system. And we're wondering how it happened. What's the common denominator? I could give you 80,000 common denominators that we imported, but no, that's wrong to talk about that. But this has now become an American problem, and we simply refuse to acknowledge that it exists. America's government is built on trust. We trust people to be somewhat honest. We trust paperwork to mean something. We trust applicants not to lie on the application. Well, that works great until you start importing people from other countries who don't have those same cultural type values. They're absent from those people. They simply don't possess those same core values that a lot of us do. So, again, they look at us as being stupid and naive and gullible. Their thinking is take what you can while you can, because if I don't do it, somebody else will. But again, these people justify it in their own mind. Like, they don't use the word stealing. They act like, well, if you're stupid enough to make this available, people are going to steal it. So I might as well get some. Because if I don't, it's going to get stolen anyway. So I might as well get some that I know is going to be stolen. So if you have 10 apples and I know 9 are going to be stolen regardless, I might as well steal one because the other 9 or those 9 are going to be stolen anyway. So why shouldn't I get an apple? This is a product of what happens when America imports people faster than the people assimilate, if they ever do. Now, to that point, Ilhan Omar, which brother lover right there, right? We know the whole story there. She was on the news channels yesterday, and she has that same, now she understands the right thing, but she still has that same Somali cultural spirit in her. She can't shake it. Even when she tries, she can't shake it. This real quick clip that I'm going to show you, they're talking about the corruption, and they had a long conversation about the corruption. And now they're talking about a lot of this money coming from taxpayers, American taxpayers, going to potentially terrorists. And her explanation is kind of like, well, this is the FBI's fault or the DOJ's fault because they didn't catch it. She doesn't say the Somali people shouldn't be involved in corruption, that they shouldn't be sending money back to terrorists in Somalia. She's saying that if the problem exists, that's the fault of the FBI because they should have caught it in the first place.
House Republicans and the Treasury Secretary just now talked about a link to terrorism, a possible link. He said they're just now beginning to look into it. How confident are you that that's a false claim?
I'm pretty confident at the moment because there are people who have been prosecuted and who have been sentenced. If there was a linkage in that the money that they had stolen going to terrorism, then that is a failure of the FBI and our court system in not figuring that out and basically charging them.
So as you can see with Ilhan Omar, when you grow up in a country where corruption is a way of life, you don't simply drop those bad habits when you cross into the into America. Those habits come with you. You didn't leave them on the boat or the airplane. Corruption follows culture, not geography. This is not about ethnicity. This is not about religion. This is about systems, norms, and learned behavior over decades. If you're raised in a failed state, you bring the survival tactics of that failed state with you, unless you make a conscious effort to unlearn them. Again, in Somalia, stealing aid is not immoral. It's normal. It's how you feed your clan. It's how you survive. So when certain bad actors saw American welfare programs, it looked like Somalia on easy mode. Look, guys, America needs to stop pretending. And we have to be vocal about it. I think on our end, we have to be the ones talking to our legislators, whatever good that does. But it's something, right? It's more than doing nothing. We need to again, I say all the time, the only thing these legislators fear is being unelected, being voted out. So if we can convince them that we will in fact vote them out, then they start to care. I know they don't normally care, but if we can convince them we're going to bounce them out, they start to care because that's what they care about. So if we can tie a reason to make them care about being voted out, then we have their attention. And in this case, I think we can do it with this. But we got to stop pretending. Should we be shocked that corruption follows people from Somalia to Minnesota? Heck no, not even close. We should be more surprised that our government was so stupid and naive that they didn't see this coming. Or did they see it coming? And they purposely did nothing about it. Again, who all's in on it? It's not just Somalians, people. Let's be honest, guys. If you import the third world to a first world country, you can't automatically, at least not logically speaking, expect third world people to suddenly become first world people just by crossing over the border. It doesn't work like that. We have no checks and balances. When these people enter the country, we're not monitoring them. We should. Look, I'm not ashamed to sit here and tell you that we bring people in from other countries, and I have a real problem with any form of this wide open immigration, legal or illegal immigration. I have a real problem with that because we got enough issues here. Look, kids starving in America, VA, our veterans are starving, have horrible medical. As long as all that happens, why are we letting anybody else come in here? We should, look, I think it's New Zealand. We should have programs, immigration style programs like New Zealand. I'm not saying I want to be like New Zealand from a gun standpoint. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying the process of entering the country and immigrating. If you can't tell me what value, and prove to me what value, because we're talking about Somalians here, what value you bring to this country. What are your plans? What do you intend to do? If you tell me, I don't know, stay home, not letting you in. You're not fleeing some kind of bad stuff. We know why you're coming here. You're coming here because your family members have explained to you how easy it is for you to steal from these stupid Americans. So when you can't give me a good plan, and I'm going to recognize that copied and pasted plan from your homie or your sister, your inbred sister, I'm going to see all these things. We should have some kind of a plan that does that, that makes these people prove, look, if nothing else, it's a freaking speed bump. Right now, it's a freaking freeway coming into this country. There's no checks and balances. We don't follow up on these people once they assimilate. In other words, look, you give me this plan. That's what you told me you were coming here to do. I'm going to check on you in 6 months. I want to see where you're at on your plan. 12 months later, I want to see that plan also. If you're not accomplishing anything, and you're not going to be eligible, by the way, for welfare, so that's off the table right off the bat. But after 6, 12 months, I don't know what the time frame is. If you can't prove to me where you are in your order of putting that plan in motion that you told me when you came here, you're gone. You're out of here. And I'm not paying for your ticket home. There's got to be a process in place. We're letting these people just roll into the country with no plan. They know why they're coming here. They don't intend on doing anything. They fully intend to suck off of the welfare system. They fully intend to take full advantage of it. And again, in a country where you have massive inbreeding and low IQ, you only need to be a couple of IQ points higher than the average person there to be the top of the top. So you can be a clan leader really easy. As long as you don't have too much inbreeding in your family tree, then it's going to be, the odds are, from a physical standpoint, from a scientific standpoint, a biological standpoint, that you're going to be slightly smarter than the other inbred dummies in your country. So it's easy for you to rise to the top in those types of situations. But we should not be so stupid to act surprised when this same corruption shows up here on U.S. soil. This isn't hate. This isn't some xenophobia. This is absolute reality, and it's happening right before our eyes, and we're shrugging our shoulders like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. Look, folks, in closing, corruption isn't stopped by pretending it doesn't exist. It's stopped by heading it off and crushing it the moment you detect it. Not waiting for excuses or explanations. It's stopped whenever you cut it off. And the repercussions should be every single person with even so much as a dotted line traced back to them for this potentially $8 billion worth of corruption in just Minnesota should all have their asses shipped back to that crap hole that they came from and let them rob from America over there like they've always been, instead of letting them come over here and rob from us firsthand. Guys, if you liked the video, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're subscribed to Legally Armed America. Some people get unsubscribed, and I apologize for that. Nothing I have to do about that. I don't unsubscribe people. But hit that notification bell so that whenever I upload a video, you actually get a notification, an email saying, Paul just uploaded a video, and you get to come watch it. Comment down below, what are your thoughts on this? Am I being a jerk about this? I know I'm not wrong about the situation, but is my focus on what we should do with these people wrong? Am I being too hard on them? What's your thoughts? Comment down below. Don't forget, guys, if you're looking for a book to educate yourself and to educate the idiots out there who can't think for themselves regarding mass shootings, go to damnliars.net. Again, damnliars.net, and get my brand new book, Damn Liars.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
It's hanging around.